You want to reinvest. So I think the first thing to reinvest in on your first couple deals is just more leads, like up your marketing. If you're doing it for free, hire a cold caller. If you get a couple deals closed out of that cold caller, hire another one. Until you get to, I think 3 cold callers is kind of that ceiling you need to be at, to where you can now do 4 or 5 deals a month consistently.
Closing the deal, that is the highest value activity. Own that and get really good at that. Use these other things to sort of complement you or supplement for you to stay on the phones until you're really cranking. Guys, welcome back to the final video in this series that Tony and I have been doing. Man, this has been a lot of fun, Tony. Thank you so much for all you've done in this series. And what we want to do here is we've gone through like the A to Z process to go from 0 to 100,000. We've tried to keep this really simple, not overcomplicate things, not talk about what a massive operation looks like. But honestly, everything we've talked about is like one person can do all of that.
Yeah.
You don't need tools, you don't need a team, you can do it all for free or low cost. And so this video, let's sort of wrap up what it kind of looks like now. Let's say you're starting to hit those, 8, 10 deals, you're hitting that $100,000 mark, Tony. And what now? What does it look like now? How do I continue on that trajectory of growing? And hopefully, I don't know about you guys, but I think the end goal for all of us is we have a business that makes us a lot of money, that gives us time and freedom.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're here doing, but that's what you and I are trying.
That's the American dream, right? So that's what we all.
So how do we stay aligned with that?
Well, I think like everything we went over in this video series is really a one-person team that's doing all these, these deals to get to 100,000. Now you just need to replicate that with more people. Because like once you have that down and you have that equation, how many leads to a contract? How much am I spending in marketing? What's my ROAS, my return on my ad spend, or your return on your marketing? Like now you just got to start replacing yourself. But it all starts with, when you get to that 100 grand, or as you're climbing that ladder to 100 grand and money starts rolling in, if we haven't made a lot of money in the past and we've never gotten a check for 20 grand or 15 grand, it can be real easy to say, oh man, I'm going to go on a shopping spree with this.
Don't do that. Don't go buy the car.
Don't buy a Rolex.
Don't buy the Rolex yet and the gold chain. Wait.
Wait on that.
After your second deal, then buy the Rolex.
So what you need to do is maximize as much of this money back into the business. Like when I started my first business, when I was in the bicycle business out in California, I think it took me 4 years of just paying myself the bare minimum, where I wasn't overspending, I wasn't over leveraged. And after that 4 years of kind of eking by, I woke up one day, I had $1 million of inventory, I owned cash, I had a few $100,000 in the bank, and I'm like, all right, now I'm comfortable enough, this is sustainable enough where I can start getting paid. And that's when I bought my Rolex. I was making good money, but it took a while to get there. It's not going to take that long for this industry, but maximize what you're making on these deals, especially if it's not your number one income source. Take as much money as possible. I think in the beginning, especially the first few deals, and reinvest it into marketing or leads, right? So
you've got this on here, but really it's like tools, that's your systems, that's your software tools. People maybe you bring on a cold caller, maybe you bring on a dispo person, whatever.
Admin,
a TC.
A TC, an assistant to help you do all the admin stuff.
Yeah, lead manager. Some of these roles can really move the needle. Marketing dollars, which is what you just said, that's now investing in better leads, more leads. And then this is sort of like the secret ingredient that you and I are both big believers in. I mean, I invest 6 figures a year in coaching, mentoring, seminars, training, books, all of that, because I see the value in, if I can spend $1 and that dollar makes me 10 because I learn new things. I mean, that's my goal. If I can 10x my spend on coaching.
Figure out what you want out of life, out of this business, and find somebody that's already done it and go pay them and learn from them. Because you want to take the elevator, not the stairs. You're going to spend way more money fumbling and trying to figure this out on your own than paying somebody to help you figure it out.
And you can't avoid all the mistakes, but a good coach will help you avoid a lot of them. There's potholes you can avoid.
And hold you accountable. That's a huge thing we don't talk about is accountability.
And I think about it like this. I mean, man, if you could reinvest 100% of that, but like 50% of that, you need to chunk a lot of that money from your first deals back into the business. Like you can't be paying your bills yet with this.
No.
You'll never grow. It'll just be this constant grind.
Hamster wheel, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to reinvest. So I think the first thing to reinvest in on your first couple deals is just more leads. Like up your marketing. If you're doing it for free, hire a cold caller. If you get a couple deals closed out of that cold caller, hire another one. Until you get to, I think 3 cold callers is kind of that ceiling you need to be at to where you can now do 4 or 5 deals a month consistently. And now you got enough money rolling in where it's like, you know, if you haven't gotten coaching yet, this is the time to do it. Now that you got some funds rolling in to get to the next level. But you're kind of maxed out on your cold call marketing. You could always add a different marketing piece to it, but we definitely want to get into systems. And a good CRM is going to save your life. That's like having 5 employees under you.
It really is.
It's a system that's going to manage all your leads, manage your nurturing and texting campaigns.
It's got the automation in there.
Automation. This is like having a team of 5 people or more on your team. It is so important. Get a CRM. We have our own CRM. There's so many good CRMs out there. They don't cost a ton of money, but you definitely want to get that. You want to get something that can text not only your nurture campaign with your leads coming in for your sellers and acquisitions, but also be able to text your buyers and hold a buyers list and work its way through this whole transaction where everything is in one place and you're well organized.
Yeah, when we think about team, things like a lead manager, explain what a lead manager's role is. That I didn't value that as much as we do now. A lead manager is like gold for us.
Like a lead manager is going to be somebody that goes through all of your, you know, in our office when we had lead managers, they would go through all of our age data, all of our legacy data, the leads that were sitting there not getting called because they were so far down in our lead bucket. So not only were these leads now getting texted, but the lead manager would go through the responses on the text messages and just call through and penetrate those leads that have been in your system 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, and try and reignite them to then alley-oop them to a closer, which you would be the closer.
That's the thing, is it's a great alley-oop. I love that to your closer. We'll even have like on our cold call leads that have been cold called, have the lead manager touch them first, verify, do some discovery, almost like a set it, and then the closer comes in and they got much more visibility now on that lead. They're a little more warmer or they're hot now. That lead manager will kind of weed through some of them like, they're not quite ready. I'm not going to have the closer spend time on this one yet. And now they own it, they nurture it, they follow up with it. Once it's warm, then it goes back to the closer. You know, so and they're fairly inexpensive. You know, dispo can be fairly inexpensive. We're doing our entire dispo process with a really well-trained VA.
Yeah, we do the same.
They're $12 an hour.
Yeah.
And they manage all our dispo because it's a process driven.
Yeah. It's a lot of busy work.
Yeah.
So I would say like with the people aspect of this, man, you can get a VA, a virtual assistant, somebody in the Philippines or overseas or someone that's going to work for, you know, a lower wage because that's a good wage in their country. Man, any administrative type work or any busy work, like take a week and write down all the time you spent on busy work that could go to a $6 an hour employee. And then once you have enough of that work, even if you hire somebody part-time, get somebody on the team as an assistant that's virtual and have them do all the busy work for you. I think that is the #1 hire. If you're hiring somebody, it's low cost, it's low commitment, and it'll save you so much time. We want to spend our time as a one-man band on money-making activities, and you need to be calling sellers. So any busy work outside of that, send to a VA assistant.
Yeah, and don't be too fast to get off the phones and off the closings. I see a lot of people, they get 10 deals and all of a sudden now they're hiring, you know, $150,000 a year person, and they kind of just sink the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, guys, closing the deal, that is the highest value activity. Own that and get really good at that. Use these other things to sort of complement you or supplement for you to stay on the phones until you're really cranking.
Yeah, I think we did probably close to $1 million in assignment fees before we even started hiring.
That's us.
You know, so like you want to be a good leader and you want to know as much of this industry and the processes as you can. And it takes more than a couple deals to get there. So don't be fast to hire. That can definitely sink the ship.
Yeah. So we talked about some of these things, guys. Now, what about getting stuck? You know, we had mentioned off camera that I don't have data to support this, but just my perception is that 80% of all wholesalers in the industry cap out at about 250 a year, and they never grow to a real business. They stay like heavy in the operations. They're making good money. Maybe they're taking home, you know, half of that or more. Is way better than the job they had before. Sure. But they're just stuck in a hustle phase, and they don't really develop into a leader. They don't really grow tools, people, marketing, and they just kind of get comfortable working hard, but comfortable, and they cap out at 250 a year.
Well, I think what's kind of unique about this industry is there's a very low barrier of entry. And we get a lot of people that jump in and out of this industry of wholesaling, but we get a lot of people that jump in where you can literally do this for free, you know, which is crazy, and you can make money doing it. There's no licensing, there's nothing. All you need is a cell phone and a list. So you can get into this industry as a hustler, and most people get into this industry as a hustler. And which is not a bad thing to be. Like, we all started as hustlers, but you know what, people used to come up to me a lot and still ask me the question a lot of like, how did you guys scale so fast? Like, doing multiple millions of dollars our second year, our third year, you know, we almost did $4 million our third year in business. And it's like, well, we owned other businesses before. We were no longer hustlers when we got into the wholesaling.
We were thinking like a business owner.
We were thinking like a business owner. We owned businesses, so we structured it that way. So it's okay to start off this way. At some point, you got to graduate to a business owner, and you got to run this thing like a business. And these are the things that you need to do to run it like a real business. Like, treat this like a business. It's going to produce like a business. If you just keep hustling, you're just going to hustle indefinitely until you get burned out.
Yeah. I think about it like this, you know, if you want to build a real business, you have to become an A leader, and an A leader will attract A talent, but you can only attract talent equal to the level of your leadership. So if you're a B leader, you're only going to get B talent. If you're a C leader, you're only going to get C talent. It's a direct correlation. So that means to become a business owner, you got to start learning about finance, cash flow, right? You got to start learning about marketing, about growing a team, motivating the team. These are things that have nothing to do with transacting a deal and everything to do with how to operate a real business.
Yeah, and it starts with your lifestyle. You know, if you're drinking every weekend and just like not living a healthy lifestyle and have healthy relationships, and you're just not going to be able to build a real business. Nobody's going to respect that. Or if they do respect it, those are going to be the people on your team that are doing the same thing you are, and nothing's going to get done. You're not going to grow that way. It really is a lifestyle to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, and in turn, a good leader. I mean, I read a bunch of books on leadership, and I'm constantly listening to those books and podcasts. I'm constantly learning. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, take a picture of me at the gym at 6 a.m. and send it to my team so they know their leader is on top of this. And even coming here and doing this video series with you, like, I told them, hey, I'm going to be out of the office, but I'm not going to be screwing around. I'm going to go visit Jerry when I'm out there, and we're going to do content. And they're like, that's awesome. We love Jerry Norton. So like, everything I do, you know, when it comes to the business, is like, I don't want them to outgrow me. So they push me to keep growing because I want them to look up to me. Like, that's my role, and I take it really serious.
And a true business should really be where you are out of the operations. You're in the owner's box. Now, it doesn't mean you're not working anymore, but you're now up at the top leading an organization. And you're doing the high level, the motivation, the team building. You're looking at where things are breaking down, fixing those things, making sure everybody can function at their best.
Well, this is where
butts in the right seats.
And this is where scaling gets really fun and really efficient, when you can step out of that daily role and the daily task, because you've hired right, you've trained right, you've led right. Now when you're looking at your business from a bird's eye view, you're like, oh, this is everything I can fix and make better throughout this business. That's when this gets fun and it really gets scalable. Is when most of your time is spent by growing this business and seeing where the holes are and how to make it more efficient and implement new things. So it takes a while to get there though. This doesn't happen overnight. Like I'm 7 months into this team. Like I said, it's going to probably take me another 4 months to get it to where I am looking at this from a bird's eye view. It takes about a year, and that's okay. You know, I know that, and I'm okay with it. I'll work my butt off until I get there. And then now I can do, more management and scaling and growing of the business.
Yeah, I think, Tony, maybe to wrap this up, like we did the 0 to 100,000, but we could probably do a whole another series, which is 100,000 to $1 million. And really what that scale looks like once you've got some really good foundational, deals behind you, under your belt, you got a really good understanding of transacting the process. And now it's like, okay, well, how do I go from, 100 or 250 solo operator to that real business owner?
Yeah.
And if you guys are interested in that, let us know. Maybe Tony and I will sit down and do a whole new series. That would be like the deep, the next level, higher level way of growing the business.
Yeah.
But that'd be fun. But Tony, this has been fantastic, guys. If you're not following Tony, we'll put his information below, but you need to be following him on all the socials, his YouTube. Just super proud of you, Tony, you and what you and Eric are doing and the thing you're building and how much you give to this community. It's just been so fun to watch you grow and change and develop and become what you are today. So,
thank you, man. I always appreciate you having me on these video series and inviting me to your home. It's so funny because, like I said, I started doing this 4.5 years ago, and you were my go-to YouTube. Like, how do I learn? How do I find cash buyers? Like that's how I started, and now here we are doing content together. Cool? So I'm ecstatic about it.
That's awesome. All right, guys, let us know if you enjoyed the series, and we'll see you on the next video.